All right. So we are going to finish this guy up. I actually cap my water so I don't do anything stupid before I finish inking this guy. And some paper towels. And some tissues. All right. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to finish, I'm going to finish Hi, Velvet. Thank you. I am doing all right. How are you? New Year has been okay for me so far. Hopefully, it has been for you as well. Hi, Kermit. Yeah, I guess you could say they're dragons. It's Ghidorah, King Ghidorah. So I mean, he's kind of like a space dragon, a three-headed space dragon. So I had drawn this guy about a week and a half ago on Christmas Eve, and I meant to do a live on New Year's Eve, but I just wasn't feeling up to it. And in a way, it's probably a good thing because I don't know that I would have come up with him being in front of one big volcano. Um, yeah, Ghidorah is from the Godzilla universe, the Toho verse. And Ghidorah's first comic book appearance, at least in the States, was fairly recently, like 2012, 2015, or something like that. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. Ghidorah's been around since I think the 60s. So my favorite kaiju goes Gamera, Ghidorah, Mothra, and Godzilla being fourth, which I know for some people who are kaiju fans probably is uh, kind of sacrilege, but and actually for New Year's, I started a new tradition, or just switched from traditions. I For the past 3 or 4 years, I've watched Akira um, on New Year's Eve, and this year I decided to watch Godzilla minus one. So what's up, Dustin? Yeah, I like most kaiju. I don't think you can like list a kaiju that I'm like, I don't care for them. I just think they're neat. Like kind of kaiju related. I live in Tucson, and we have this miniatures museum, and it's pretty sweet. And I've been twice this week because they have a Ray Harryhausen exhibit, and it's friggin' it's really amazing. Like you get to see some of the pieces that he worked on for like Clash of the Titans. They have some of the skeletons and the Hydra from Jason and the Argonauts. They have the big Talon statue that he redid as a bronze piece. Um, and they have two of the four Bulbos. If you saw Clash of the Titans, Bulbo was the mechanical owl, and they had four different models that they made for the movie, so they could shoot them from like different angles and stuff. And they had the two middle ones. That they called the medium one, and he was really small too. So I'm like, wow, the little one must have been tiny. I think they said the little one was about an inch tall. And in going to the museum, I actually realized I have a comic book based on one of the movies that he worked on, Ray Harryhausen, um, The Valley of Guanji. And I dug that out today to show one of my friends that I went with. All right. So now I'm going to start painting this guy. So I use watercolors, and I use some pretty inexpensive paints. Like my paints are Prang, And the reason I use like lower, I wouldn't say lower quality, just not super expensive, is because I'm not super great at watercolors. So for me, there's no reason for me to invest a ton of money. Thank you. Dustin, it might make you happy to know I am listening to my wrestling themes playlist on Kobuz, and a song that's on right now is Cult of Personality. Sadly, Kobuz does not have a lot of the WWE songs, licensed songs that are done by either Jeff Johnstone or um, even like CFO or anything like that. So the only ones I have access to um, are like these weird remixes. So like some of them are okay because they're not. Ah, dude, that sucks. I hate when that happens. Fortunately, I haven't had that happen in a while. Um, Hi, XXG4X. I don't know how to read your name, so I'll just say hi. On a kind of cool note, I was approved for the um, um, and I'll do a post on it once I hopefully they give me like a logo and stuff like that to post. I was approved for the Tucson Terror and Oddities Market in a couple of weeks on the 24th down at the Coalition on 4th, off of 4th Ave. Um, I don't know if this print will be ready by then, but I mean, it will at the very least be at the printer, and the original will be available, of course. This might be one of the uh, more complex prints or complex pieces, just because of like how detailed Ghidorah is. Yeah, no, that's okay. Oh, that's kind of nice. I like when that happens. I mean, it's definitely an inconvenience that you have to, go back and forth, but at least you can get, money for it. I was my I don't like supporting Amazon, but my stepdad gave me a gift card for Amazon for Christmas. Like we don't really do presents and stuff, but my mom and stepdad like always get me something small. Um, and so he almost always gets me like a gift card either to like Fry's or Amazon. And um, so I was looking on Amazon and I was just like, well, I could get some um, not workout equipment, but these like resistance bands for like exercising. Because two of my resistance bands that I bought a couple years ago are dead. Um, but then I started looking up like kaiju toys, and there's this really great Mothra figure that's being released in like 2 weeks, and my gift card would cover the majority of it. So I think I'm gonna order it. Also, from my last video on Christmas Eve, I've been feeling a little bit better, um, mental health wise. Going out and socializing and being around people has been helpful. But it's really hard to like tell people how you're feeling when you're trying to get them to like hang out because it sounds weird to be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And they're like, "I'm pretty busy." And I don't want people to feel bad and hang out with me. Like, I want people to hang out with me because they want to hang out with me. So, my winter break is almost over. Tomorrow's my last day. And I didn't get nearly as much done on the book as I wanted to. I was hoping to be all the way done with the inking, but with how I've been feeling lately, like I decided twofold. Like one, I feel like I was rushing on my inks, so they were looking kind of sloppy, and that's the last thing I want. I'd love to finish it, right quick, but um, I'd much rather it look good and take a little longer, especially with how the first issue came out, or the first chapter, I should say. Yeah, The Mothra figure is so I set my I'll have to do like a walkthrough on all my displays and stuff, especially once that Mothra comes out. Um, but the Mothra is like has a 12-inch wingspan, which means she's gonna dwarf the Godzilla in terms of like how much area she covers. And a Gamera that's on his way is going to be a little smaller than um, the Godzilla that I have, but based on like stats and stuff like that, Gamera is he's not the smallest kaiju, but he's one of the smaller kaiju. He's not quite as big as like Godzilla, and I think Ghidorah is the biggest. So the two Hayat toys that I have with Godzilla and Ghidorah scale really well next to each other. So he Ghidorah like kind of dwarfs Godzilla. It's kind of nice. And so then I'll put up Mothra and have them all like fighting. And once I have the Mothra um, and the Gamera, I will have all of my favorite kaiju in like higher end figure form, which I'm excited about. And I'll be looking at some of the other horror shows, like going back to The Gathering of the Ghouls. And my friend Richard was interested in Warwick Davis being at Mad Monster because he's a big Star Wars fan. So he'd want to meet him to be able to meet Wicket. So, all right. And I got to hang out with one of my other friends this week, JoJo Seams. Um, she's a local comic book artist, and we did kind of just like a jam and draw in her kitchen, and kind of talked a little bit about like objectives and doing print work and like what they do for like their prints and original artwork and stuff. And they agreed that doing fan art stuff like the Skidora of characters and themes and stuff that you really enjoy is preferable to like chasing numbers and chasing trends and stuff like that because it shows more in the work that you're doing. So like the Chucky and the Jason that I did and the Sadako that I did, like it you can see what I was, going for when working on them. and hopefully people will see that with this Ghidorah. I also found um, what was I going to say? So I made a goal to do more drawing for myself this year and not having to like monetize everything, every single thing I draw. And so I went and bought myself kind of a nicer sketchbook. And I think I talked about this on Christmas Eve, um, and wanted to just, work in watercolor and pen and ink and pencil and paint pen. And so, so since I haven't streamed since Christmas Eve, um, my Christmas Eve movie tradition has changed pretty dramatically over the last couple of years. I used to always watch Die Hard, and then after Die Hard, after a few years of that, I started introducing Silent Night, Deadly Night. Um, but I think last year and this year, I know last year and this year, I didn't watch Die Hard and I didn't watch Silent Night, Deadly Night. And I forget if I started it in 2023. Um, but so this year I watched Santa's Sleigh with Bill Goldberg and Krampus. And it's been a while since I've seen Krampus, so I forgot like how it went. I could have sworn they went like out to a cabin or something like that, but the Krampus just like brought that snowstorm to their neighborhood and like took everything out, so it was like all they were snowed in and trapped and everything. It's pretty crazy. Dustin, did you end up watching Santa's Sleigh? I think you said you found something else to watch. You did? Okay, cool. Is that the first time you've seen it? I think it has like a 2.5 on IMDb. Like it's got a pretty friggin' low score, which is fine. I love bad movies. Like a lot of times I love them unironically. Like some of them are just so bad you're just like, "Oh, I got to own this movie." But sometimes when you find a movie that's just so bad, you like, I don't know, become enamored with it. Like there's a lot of like mid-tier and lower tier horror movies, like Santa's Sleigh and um Attack of the Killer Donuts, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Um, I mean, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes and Attack of the Killer Donuts were made to be like goofy, silly movies. Um, and there's a lot of people out there who don't like when the creators are like self aware of how bad something is. But like, I don't know. Sometimes it's I think it's okay, Like you went out to make like a weird, silly movie and you accomplished it. I don't necessarily see anything wrong with that. I mean, it'd be like, my comic book Fuzzy Face. Like supposed to be like a goofy movie, or a goofy concept, right? Like it's not supposed to be serious. Right? He was like a he was it was almost like Bison's Psycho, or Raiden's like just fly straight forward thing. It was pretty hilarious because it like comes out of nowhere. I don't know if you ever saw uh Universal Soldier: The Return. They brought Van Damme back, um, and I think that was Goldberg's first movie, and his code name was Romeo. And they didn't have him talk a lot, which is probably a good idea because he's not a great actor. But like, he was the one who was supposed to fight Van Damme's character, Luke Boudreaux, and he like, I think he throws a spear at Boudreaux, and Boudreaux like does his like, I don't know, his like jump splits to get out of the way or whatever, and like Romeo hits the back of the elevator and like knocks himself out, and the doors start to close on the elevator, and you just hear him say, "Saved by the bell, Boudreaux." It was just so corny. I don't know if like that movie was supposed to be serious or not. I don't really care because It might be the worst of the Universal Soldier movies, and there are more of those than you might think. There are two sequels to the original before they bring Van Damme back, and I think they kind of like, oh, none of that story or continuity counts because the guy they got to play Boudreaux, oh god, he was like, if you think Van Damme was a robot in that movie, this guy was. No, I didn't see it, but I heard about it. Like, I've seen clips of it, and they're supposed to be like warriors from hell or something, right? Like, Steiner says that he like gorilla press slammed Shannon Doherty, and before like they did the take, he explained to her like how he was going to have to hold her, and of course it's, it's Scott Steiner, so you don't know how much of it is true, but he said like she was cool with it, and um switched to the smaller um brush. It tends to push out less water, which means I start out with stronger, like a better amount of pigment. This Ghidorah is going to be awesome. I'm really happy with him so far, especially with the paint, the color added to him. I think he pops pretty well so far. And you're going to have some browns and like lava reds and stuff. It's funny that somebody at the miniature museum made a like a little display of the clumps from the Nutty Professor, all sitting at the dinner table, and it hurt me so much because when I saw that, I was just like laughing hysterically, and so the um the the setup and the like everything was made in 1997, and apparently the Nutty Professor remake with Eddie Murphy was made in 1996, which makes it 30 friggin' years old this year. I was just like, oh my god. It didn't feel like it was made that long ago. Like, I think the clumps, they might have made a second one and then made like a clump spinoff, but I know they made a clump spinoff, but I could have sworn that was in the 2000s, but even then that was probably early 2000s, like with, like Daddy Daycare and the first Shreks. And Dustin, did you ever see the episode of Drew Carey that Triple H was in, where he played the disciplinarian? And I think didn't he have to go to rehab after like drinking their buzz beer, the and becoming like addicted to it or something? I was thinking about like what happens if HBO and Warner and everything gets sold to Paramount. If it gets sold to Netflix, it'll depend on what they change their pricing to, because they'll no doubt change their pricing. Um, but I'm on the verge of canceling Disney and Hulu and HBO Max, especially if Warner Brothers is sold to Paramount. I don't. I mean, it's crazy to think that Netflix is the lesser of two evils when it comes to potentially, um, a massive company being sold and everything. And I found the Ring of Honor DVD, Best in the World, where um, they have a bunch of different matches from a bunch of different events, and Punk fights Terry Funk, and Joe fights Kobashi. Because I've watched that Joe Kobashi match so many times. It's such a good match. Like I'm pretty sure that match like shortened both of their lives by like a couple of years. Gran Turismo. Well, I'm not like gonna cancel it like right away. Not like I did with friggin' Peacock. Um, which now that I understand how like they're doing their library, like yeah, it like that company is so jacked up with how they're just going after as much money as possible and giving so little in return. Stevie Richards was saying like when you make Vince McMahon look like a baby face because he tried to keep like costs affordable for people to be able to attend events, like that says something. And I thought about it and I was just like, yeah, man, like in '03, um, for like 40 bucks a piece. I mean, yeah, they were literally the worst seats in the house because they were all the way against the wall on the top tier. Um, got to see SummerSlam for 40 bucks though. Like live. That's what the pay-per-view cost. Like to watch it on like on pay-per-view. Is Gran Turismo, is it a movie or is it a TV show? I heard about it, but I didn't really like look into it. Look into it kind of thing, you know. But I also finished watching Free Run, A Journey's End anime, recommended to me by my friend Richard. He said it's his favorite anime. And I gotta say, man, I give it I give it a high marks. Like I'd give it an A, or like probably like 4.25 stars. There were parts that I felt had too much comedy, and like the final arc, they introduce a ton of new characters, which was initially very off-putting for me, but overall the story was really well done. They It was like understanding life and mortality while also being very fantasy driven, which is not a genre that I tend to like. It's a movie. Okay, good. Some stuff when it's like a TV show, it tends to get, I don't know, I get a little intimidated by it, especially if it's like, oh, it becomes tough, like especially if you have to keep streaming, paying for a streaming service in order to watch like one show that you really like. And I don't watch a ton of stuff on Disney Plus, so it does suck that you can't do Hulu by itself anymore. Because I do like some of the stuff on Hulu, but Gran Turismo? It's based on a video game. Is the video game based on a like a real life event? Or did they just kind of take the name and the concept from the game and then base it on the event? Because you're the video game guy. Like, I don't play a lot of video games. Although now that I have that back room, uh, like kind of prepped, I kind of want to start. I want to do that like concrete garage sealer, that gray on the floor, and then start painting the walls, and then putting up art. I mean, in some things we have similar tastes, so I mean, I will definitely check it out for sure. I mean, that's cool. I mean, there's certain things that like I'll definitely try, or that are such like larger properties or whatever, like Street Fighter. Like I could follow a Street Fighter plot if it's well done. Um, but or Mortal Kombat kind of thing. Like I don't have to play those games much in order to understand them. I was trying to think right now if I did like a video game fan art piece of like what would I do it of? Because I mean, most of my favorite video games are like based on pre-existing properties, like Punisher Capcom game and um, X-Men Children of the Atom. Um, oh, did you start reading your Children of the Atom uh, set yet? It's funny, some of these wrestling themes, like they're like songs that have become more popular in pop culture, and so people would recognize them for like, oh, that was in the Iron Man movie, um, like ACDC's Back in Black, and I'm sitting here like, I mean, yeah, it was, but when I hear it, I think of Chris Candido like doing the Fargo strut on the ring apron, like, oh my god, I'm really happy with how this is turning out. I started reading Grapes of Wrath. I need to get back into it. I only got a couple chapters in, but something I never read before. Like I didn't read it when I was in school. I wanted to be like, how do you get too busy to read the X-Men? That's funny, dude. That is funny as hell. I might have to hit this with some paint pens or just say F it and because I'd rather avoid doing any like digital touch ups on it. The Jason one, I wouldn't mind if they did, and I'm sure they did a part 6 Jason, because then that would really complete like the display that I have. Cool. I might have to pick that up. Because I've got the McFarlane Part 9 figure, and I've got the Part 7 figure. I wouldn't mind getting a Jason X figure. Because, dude, the Uber Jason was just chef's kiss, man. Like, well, I'm sure like they'll they'll do it, if enough people want it. I just hope when they do it, it's not like one of those things where they either try to crowdfund it, although I don't think NECA does crowdfunding, so I don't think that's a problem. And um, and they don't make it like a shop exclusive or anything. I mean, it wouldn't be the worst if it was, but like, the more people you can get that can get their hands on it, I mean, the easier it's going to be to obtain, and overall, the less it would cost to buy, because um, even if people are reselling it, like, if it's not an exclusive, it'll still be slightly cheaper. It's like those figure arts figures, dude. Those are, I think those are imports, but they're also like, um, they're just more expensive. Like, and that's what the camera I got was. It's from the '96 movie, and it's but it's like, I think it used to retail for like 150 or something like that. And now it's a bit cheaper because they probably just reissued it. And some people are kind of finicky with that. They're like, I want the original release. And I'm like, I don't care. It's not the same with action figures as it is with like comics. Not to me, anyways. This this like paper that I'm like rubbing all my brush off of, like, It's almost full. Tony at Collector's Territory was just showing off a haul that they picked up today. Somebody walked in and traded in or sold a whole bunch of like Godzilla DVDs and like Japanese figs and stuff like that. I didn't see what the figs look like, but man, those Godzilla DVDs were pretty sweet. I think I have a lot of them in like Toho collection sets, but they're still pretty dope. I think I have the part 7. I know I have a part 7, but I think it's the NECA one. Is the where he has like all the tools that you never unfortunately get to see him utilize in the finished movie because the freaking MPAA like shoehorned them with a bunch of stuff that they had to like fix. I'm hoping somebody somewhere has a work print of that movie and that they one day put it out because I really want to see like all the uncut like kills. Yeah, I gotta change out that paper. Change brushes. Okay, I'm almost done with him. Does it come with the severed head from part two? I kind of want to make that setup, like get the sweater and then make like I don't know, like buy a base head and then like put it together. Like probably get even a styrofoam head and just like decorate it. That might be a little creepy to have in the house though. I also bought some new spices this week, so I may try them out on some chicken wings tonight. I really want to put in like Ghidorah's like lightning strikes, but I also don't want to. Maybe when I scan it, like I'll play with it a little bit to see if like if putting them in digitally is okay, like if it doesn't look shit. All right, let's make this lava pop. Why would the NES Jason come with that? I mean, because that's not in the game, right? I wouldn't think, because like that was before the ratings board, and that probably would have been a no go. I think the only games I've legit ever beat were Mortal Kombat versus DC, the DC side, um, Punisher, the uh, the Capcom arcade game with the arcade one up cabinet I have, and Gyromite. I didn't have the robot, so I actually played with the both controllers like stacked, which I know AVGN did with a couple of games. Like he like modded out or just cut up a controller and then put it back together, like taped it or duct taped it or whatever for some of those NES robot games. I forgot because of the way my scanner works. I've got to make these colors pop more because it'll actually dim them out a little bit. So All right. Well, hopefully that will pop. And if not, might have to go back in with like paint pens or. All right. There he is. King Ghidorah. I am pretty happy with this. I might need to add a little more detailing and veins into the wings. But other than that, he looks ready to go. A few more scales here and there, but yeah. All right. Whoever is still in here watching, I appreciate your time. Thanks for joining in. And yeah, have a good Saturday night.